Hello, I'm Liz Van Vliet, and welcome to the Assist with Impact podcast. Join me as I explore the competencies and capabilities that allow you to assist with impact. I'll be sharing practical tips, strategies, and insights that will help you move beyond what I call the order taker zone and be that little hinge that can swing big doors. If you're ready to be more proactive and have more impact in your role, then this is the place for you. Let's get started with the episode. Well, hello, lovely listeners. Welcome to a very belated episode 158, the third in my little mini-series of tips for inbox and email effectiveness. Now, for those of you following along on social media, you will not have been so surprised that there's been a bit of a lapse in getting this final part of this trio of episodes out, because if you follow me on Instagram, so that's LizVV on Instagram, I'll put the link in the show notes, but it's Liz VEEVEE is my handle on Instagram. You will know that I have been on what I'm calling Liz Takes Europe 2022, my European holiday. And it's basically, I have a brother and a sister who live over in the UK who I'm very close to. And because of COVID and the pandemic, I had not been able to see them since, for 3 years. So I have taken an extended break. And although I managed to be organised with my content, I had a technical glitch with this episode that meant that I couldn't, it didn't post when it was meant to. So I have re-recorded it, and that's what you're hearing now. And I'm so sorry that it is a little bit late and hasn't come out at the 2-week mark after 157 when it was meant to, but better late than never. Anyway, so right now I am doing this episode from a room, my bedroom, in a lovely house called Les Lucioles in France, in the foothills of the Pyrenees. So I'm looking up at one of the peaks down here in this part of France called Mount Canigou, and it is a very nice view. So through the power of podcasting, I'm coming to you from this lovely spot in southwestern France, so that I can get this episode done again. And I don't know what happened to the one that I had put in draft form, but wherever it is out there in the internet ether, I hope it's happy. Anyway, so luckily I had my notes, and I'm telling you right now, right up front, like the other 2 episodes, this is short and sweet. And in this episode, rather than just giving you one tip, you're getting a bonus of 3 mini tips. So 3 more mini tips to help you be more effective in terms of the way you handle your manager, your executive's inbox, and your own, really, are the tips that I've been sharing. So let me go with the first one. So my first mini tip for this episode is, for those of you that are what we, in Australia we call, young players in terms of your EA career, my big tip for you that I want to start with is to check your executives' sent and deleted items, as well as the things that are still sitting in the main inbox. So in the early days of the job, this is a great strategy for giving you a really good understanding of the sorts of things that are coming through their inbox and the way they're responding, the tone that they're using, the sorts of information that you will be able to glean from reading the emails that they are sending, as well as looking at the ones that they've deleted. What does that tell you? And that's about being curious as in terms of that aspect of things. So it also, as I said, helps you develop the voice of your exec so that as you build confidence, their trust and confidence, and can be then, you have that, you reach the point where they are happy for you to respond on their behalf, you are going to be able to do so using the sort of words, the sort of language, the tone and the style that is going to be consistent with the tone and style and voice of your executive. So the other reason for checking these things is that it's going to give you a taste and a sense of how their communication differs depending on the various people that they are engaging with via email. And one of the things that I've talked about in earlier episodes of this podcast, or when it was being indispensable, is the idea of mapping the shadow organisation and being aware that what is on the org chart in terms of the informal influencers and people that are important in your executive sort of sphere, this is another way that you can get a feel for that by reading the emails that they're sending to people. Now, the other reason for doing, particularly looking at the deleted items, is that sometimes executives are fallible and they may accidentally delete something that you think should be filed. So that's the other reason for doing that checking of the deleted items. So my second mini tip for this episode is, in terms of your communication via email with your executive, is to consolidate the emails that you're sending them. So unless the email is time sensitive, avoid sending one-off emails. A general practice that I know a lot of experienced EAs use is to start a draft, with all non-urgent updates in the morning and send that at the end of the day. So using our tip from episode 157, where we have bottom line up front, that's where that is what you're going to communicate. Bottom line up front is, here is a summary of things that updates for you for, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is, with the things that require action or things that are just being updated. And that's taking tips from episode 156, I think it was, the first in this series of 3. Anyway, that is something for you to take on board, because if your executive is like pretty much every executive I know, and all of us as well, minimising the emails that are landing in their inbox is something that is going to give them back some time and is going to protect their energy. And that's being effective. That's something you have the ability to influence. Finally, my third mini tip for this episode is to do something where you create a filter using unsubscribe as the filter, because any email marketing is required by law to have an unsubscribe option incorporated into the email. It's usually in the footer of the email that basically gives people that option to unsubscribe from somebody's mailing list. So by creating this filter using the word unsubscribe, you are going to be scooping up all of those email marketing messages into the one folder. Now, that is then something that your executive can quickly review just at a glance and say, oh, no, do a voice memo, unsubscribe from this one. It's just going to help them and you stay on top of those things that can tend to clutter up the inbox. Now, I will tell you there is I know for Gmail, and I'm pretty sure it works in Outlook too, you can subscribe to something called an app called Unrolled, which actually rolls up all of your email subscriptions into one email that you decide on the frequency of. So that's another option. I've mentioned that a long time ago as something that I used to do for my executive, as a way to help him manage the things that he had subscribed to in terms of email marketing. But this strategy of just creating a filter using the word unsubscribe is a really just a basic, simple to do filter that you can set up that's, again, going to demonstrate that you are being not just efficient, but effective. So that wraps up my tips for you for these episodes, for these 3 episodes. I hope that you have found this little trio of episodes helpful. And as I mentioned, I think in the first episode I did, 156, I'm going to be bringing you an interview with Stuart Snooks later in the year, probably in another month or so, where I'm going to get him to share his top 5 tips for Outlook effectiveness. So there will be more coming in terms of email effectiveness. And as always, I will continue to share with you tips and tactics and strategies to help you generally with your effectiveness, because as you know, it's not just about being efficient, it's about being effective as well. Okay, that is it. I'm going to sign off and send you my warmest regards from southwestern France. And if you're not following me on Instagram, get on board, and so you can enjoy seeing my occasional snaps of my holiday. Thanks for listening and have a great week. Thanks for listening to today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see the show notes, head over to my website. It would be great if you haven't already done so. If you enjoyed the show, if you could kindly go to iTunes and leave a review. It helps other people find the show. Thanks for listening and have a great week.